Hello. Thought you would enjoy, I don't know if that's the word, but to see a bit of the how my mind works when I'm putting together lectures. I'll have a series of little lectures for you this Thursday to kind of, give us a little change up from our usual. And so, I was looking over the materials and talking about tooth growth, which is interesting to me, anyhow, and also looking at kind of articles on nutrition. And so I started thinking about, I remember I had heard once an article about tooth decay and how costly it was in the United States. So, if this is what I was actually looking for, we'll know in a second. And it's not about adult. Um, let's see here. We might have to put it in with children. So anyway, if I was looking for that article in childhood, obviously it's not here, and I will look for that independently. But just to kind of show how the a mind of a mad woman works. So that reminded me of an article I had read once regarding sugar and sugar cravings in childhood as being correlated to some interesting other um, factors. So I typed in something about, I couldn't remember exactly where it was. So, in this age of needing to really learn how to dig out um, dig out the most appropriate materials out of the internet, right? That's what we're become sort of like I've been describing my teaching lately as a concierge, right? I'm a concierge of information. So I need to get you the finest matches for what you're interested in looking at. So, anyhow, I concierged this article, and this was actually not the material I wanted. We all do internet searches. We don't really talk about what it's like to do them, and you all have done this. You're in the wrong place. But is this interesting? Children who love sugar the most have faster growth rates. So, first thing I always do is look at the year it was published. And who did it? It's the Daily Mail, which is, it's a newspaper in England. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but I'm going to kind of demonstrate how to dig out the research aspect of it. That's what this demo is. Some sort of stubborn commercial here. I'm using Firefox. At any rate, we're just bombarded with all kinds of ads and whatnot, but that's just what we do now, I guess. Here we have a study. Now they're citing some sort of research that was done where it shows that children that had the highest sugar cravings in drinks, they use drinks as their barometer, actually had the fastest growth rates. So I think these were healthy growth rates. I don't see anything here um, that says that they are unhealthy growth rates. It has to do with height more than width, as I like to say. So there is an author of the study, Susan Coldwell, who led the University of Washington study. Now I've taught for the University of Washington, and they're extremely excellent researchers there. So while we're not looking at the actual study, I do feel with some sense of, I think, authority that that person, who I do not know personally, has probably done some pretty good research. So this is just looking at high and low preferences for sugar drinks. It also says that as the sweet tooth declines, their physical growth slows and eventually stops completely. So as you sort of charge through this craving of sugar for long periods of time, you're growing very well. So it's just an indicator. It doesn't mean eating sugar makes you grow well. It means that craving foods, I think, is actually an important aspect of growing, not the craving, but the having a passion for food. So if you withhold the sugary food, and there's a quiz question later for you with this. I'm sorry, I'm always nervous about what's in the sidebars here. Seems to be making making me wonder what we're all looking at. But anyhow, we're not going to worry about that. We're looking at this research. So we know that a passion for food is related to a passion for food. And children are passionate about sweet foods. That's just the reality of the situation. They're not going to crave a bitter food. That's something they're going to acquire later. But a passion for a cookie or a sugary treat, and I firmly believe this, engrosses the child in the world of wanting to eat foods, to try foods later in life, not that year or the next year, but a passion to eat, um, which we all know is going to be important. Passion to eat all kinds of foods. All right, so what I might go for here is, since this is not exactly what I wanted, but I did like this study, and the co-author, Dr. Daniel Reed of Monell Chemical Sciences Center. So that made me feel interested in them. So here we are on their website. Now here we have a group that I think is related to a university. We would have to look at this and see. Maybe this particular website is run by, a sugar company. I'm not sure who they are. We could kind of look. It says the Monell Center scientists and disciplines work together to focus on understanding mechanisms. It is the world's only independent non-profit scientific institute dedicated to basic research on taste and smell. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not sponsored by, a sugar company, for example. It does have support and sponsorship link here. So before we go crazy and ditch them, though, let's look at their research page and see if we can find that particular study. So it looks fairly in depth with what they're doing. Now, do we feel like we want to know still who's sponsoring them? Yeah, of course we do. But on the other hand, that research in here could probably be located. So I'm sorry, remind me what she said sugar. So we can go back here and maybe we can search sugar and see if there's something here. Does good tasting food cause weight gain? Measuring taste preferences. Let's see if we can do one on children. Children who are better at tasting sugar are more likely to be overweight. Children's ability to detect sugar varies widely. So we can go through and look at all of these studies, and I'm just doing a quickie to see if we can see what they were looking at. I don't think a sweet tooth is a problem per se. Because again, about passion and learning to want to eat foods, the Monell Sciences Center in Philadelphia. Let's look at what I want to do now is let's look up this woman. What was her name again? Okay, University of Washington woman. This is the article, right? This is the one. No, this is the Monell Center. Let's see here. Oh, this is a study that showed that it was pain-reducing effects. We do know with infants, if they have sugar in their mouth and they're going through a painful procedure like circumcision. So circumcision is a quick procedure, but it involves some pain for the infant. So do blood draws and other types of procedures. And they've noted that if an infant has some sugary substance, say you dip something on a pacifier, you put it into the baby's mouth, that the baby seems to be distracted from the sensations of pain. So with this particular study was finding that children with sugar water in their mouths did better in a pain situation. This was with their hands submerged in cold water. I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, let me dig out here what I wanted. So that was a co-director. I'm going to see if we can do this, okay? I'm going to see if I can find in Galileo Susan Coldwell. We're going to see if we can find her article in Galileo. So this would be another like little hint or something about how we do research. Probably have to log in here. wonder if I'm already logged in enough. Home page. Here we go. I think I'll be able to maybe go to my home. There's our library connection in here, maybe. No, I gotta go over here. All right, here we are. This should have library. Here we are. You know what they say, if it's more than a couple clicks, it's not what you want. Couple clicks. We've already done a couple clicks. Did that not work? Let's go to Galileo. All right, so we're going to put her name in here, and let's just see what we come up with. If we can get, probably ask me for a password. Man, oh man. All right, I just happened to remember that. Yeah, sure, remember it. Do me a favor. All right, let's see. So here's something with her with taste receptors and the bad taste of medicines, overview of basic research on bitter taste. So she does pretty standard lab kinds of research. Going to see the marker of growth differs between adolescents. This is in 2008, so you can see this is the actual article that was being cited in the other kind of story article, journalistic article. So that's important for us to find in terms of learning how to do research. So that was the one we wanted. I was just seeing what else might be here. Let's click it and see what we have. We're not going to have a full text that would be over on this side, so all we have is the abstract, which is not the worst thing in the world. But let me see if I can move your screen. Getting up to 11 minutes here. I think I can move your little red box here. Awesome. Okay. Sweet preferences is higher in childhood than adulthood, but the mechanism for this development shift is not known. The objective of this study was to assess perceptual, physiological, and eating habit differences between children preferring solutions high in sugar and children preferring solutions low in sugar, low preference. So again, it's what the article is talking. Here we'll cut to the chase. Children with high and low preference patterns do not differ in sensory aspects, nor they deliver an age, body mass index, or dietary strength. The change in sugar preference from high to low during adolescence appears to be associated with the cessation of growth. So does this study even say that it's correlated? It says 88 children were classified as high preference and low preference. Are you seeing, like, using a sip and spit method, perceived sucrose? Wow. So the plasma constitutes several hormones, a biomarker of bone growth habits were measured. A marker of bone growth measured in urine plasma, leptin, adjusted for body weight, is significantly lower in the low preference group. So this, a marker of bone growth, it's not weight, bone growth adjusted for body weight were significantly lower in the low preference group. So that's how they got their results. And in other words, that's how the other folks got the information to write in the article. And I do think you have to dig down this deeply if you really want to know if the article you're reading, and I really think that the future of all research and student papers are going to be this type of demonstration that you can trace back an article if we, and that it has a root someplace. I'm showing all students, but to cite this, please don't memorize anything you can quickly look up, is what I say. Here's the APA reference. So let's say you want to put this article in a discussion. You could find this article, clip out the APA style citation, and plunk it into a discussion. All right, I hope you enjoyed that little foray into my mind of how I work, how I check the materials that I used for you, and also to give you ideas about how to up your scholarship when you're doing your research, and to sort of, by yourself, sort of check something that this is just something called the Mother Nature Network. I got this out of. So should we listen to them or not? And I think what we've done is really kind of prove to ourselves that looking something up and finding the reference for it is going to ultimately give you the best, most scholarly results. All right. More later. Thanks. Bye.